Is Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria finally happening? This has been a potential matchup that a lot of people have been talking about for a very long time. And the day of this recording, it was the UFC 326 press conference, and there was a media member that asked Dana White when the White House card will be announced, and he basically said that this Saturday the White House card will be officially announced, which means it will be during the main card most likely for the event. But before I start, there could be a chance that this video that I'm making right now could age very badly, just a heads up. But for now, let me cook. So to anyone that just started watching UFC, maybe during this Paramount era, and doesn't know the lore about Ilia versus Islam Makhachev, I'll make it quick and explain the lore. So this starts back on February 17, 2024, when Ilia knocked out Alex Volkanovski for the featherweight belt, and knocking him out the way he did was the start of it all. Because the first fight between Volkanovski and Islam, it was very controversial because a lot of people thought that Volkanovski won the fight. But then they later had a rematch and Islam ended up knocking out Volkanovski in the first round. But Ilia just needed one fight against Volk that made him think that a fight with Islam would make his resume better, but he had to defend the featherweight belt at least once. So Ilia ends up fighting Max Holloway for the 145 belt, which Ilia knocked him out in the third round, and that's what everything really started, with Ilia saying in a tweet, "Islam, if I want to, I can finish you. If I want to, I can knock you out. I'll make it look easy. See you soon." Ever since, Ilia would throw shots at Islam, hoping to get matched up against him. So when Ilia vacated his featherweight belt, he was hoping to fight Islam Makhachev for that 155 belt. But Islam had the same idea. He also vacated his lightweight belt to go up and try to be a double champ in the welterweight division. So the fight between them never happened. So now, recently there's been a lot of news going on in the MMA community, starting off with Islam calling out Kamaru Usman for his first title defense, but was later shut down by Usman on his podcast, saying that the UFC didn't want to make that matchup and weren't really interested. And another rumor is that Ian Gary is supposed to be fighting Islam Makhachev for that welterweight belt, and he's been posting that he flew to Georgia, hinting that he will be working on his wrestling and basically just hinting a fight against Islam. But Islam's manager Ali tweeted saying, I can tell you, the UFC working on a big fight. Islam Makhachev and Ian name is not involved. Much bigger. One of the biggest fight in the UFC right now they can make. Stay tuned. I'm just reading it the way he tweeted it, so my bad if I sound weird saying it like that. But anyway, let's be honest here, guys. The biggest fight that they can make is against Ilia Topuria, the number 1 pound for pound versus number 2 pound for pound. Like, come on. And look, we can't believe what everyone is saying, just because another rumor that is happening right now is that apparently Michael Morales will be facing Islam Makhachev for International Fight Week in July, and apparently it was leaked by an Ecuadorian sports channel. And also Michael Morales did post a story on his Instagram hinting a fight against Islam Makhachev with certain emojis that basically indicated that the fight has been signed, because there could be a good chance it's Michael Morales, but I don't think it's him either. And if Ali is saying that it's a big name, I don't think Morales fits in that category just yet, just because I do believe that to a lot of people that are casuals, they might not know a guy like Michael Morales. Also, his biggest fight was Sean Brady, and there was a interview with Islam Makhachev on a Russian channel saying that Michael Morales is a good fighter, but he's not a big name, and for his legacy he needs big fights. So once again, what comes to mind? Ilia Topuria. But now I'll finally explain why I think this fight happens between them, just because recently Ilia went on a live stream with Aiden Ross, and during the stream Aiden Ross asked him about the White House card and if he will be headlining it against Justin Gaethje. But Ilia's response was that he never got the call for the White House, which I think is a lie. Obviously, he can't talk about any future fights he has because the UFC has to announce them first. And during the stream, Ilia looks fit and looks like he's been training for a while. And he did mention that he is a little heavier than normal, but he looked fit. No diddy. He also mentioned that he would love to fight Islam at the White House, which Islam agreed to as well on different interviews. But Ilia wants the UFC to make a pound for pound belt that would be made for him versus Islam, and the winner obviously gets the belt. That was his idea about it. But a couple days after that stream, Neon did a stream with Justin Gaethje, and not gonna lie, based off the stream, it looks like Justin Gaethje doesn't have a fight anytime soon. There's a good chance I could be wrong about this, but he just looks way too heavy. Just because if you knew he was going to fight Ilia in the White House card, he would look more fit and also just more locked in. But I'm not sure how the weight cut process is with Justin Gaethje. But if you're fighting for the belt next, you would think he would have to stay healthy and look fit, especially if you're going against Ilia Topuria. But this is one of the main reasons why I think Ilia will be facing Islam Makhachev possibly at the White House or International Fight Week, is because there was a recent interview with Arman Tsarukyan with Ariel Helwani, and during the interview, Arman mentioned that he was talking to Hunter Campbell about his possible options for his next fights, and he mentioned that he will be getting a shot at the lightweight belt in September or October. Also, that's another reason that makes me believe that Islam will be fighting Ilia soon, just because we all know that Ilia doesn't fight back to back like that, especially if the fight was to take place in June with Justin Gaethje. It's too much of a quick turnaround for him, and I don't think he will agree to that. So for Arman to say that, I believe that Ilia will be vacating his lightweight belt to go against Islam, and most likely the winner of this Saturday, Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira, will be facing Arman Tsarukyan in September or October for that lightweight belt. That's what I think it's gonna happen. Or Arman might just face Justin Gaethje. I think it just depends on how Max versus Charles fight is, and who wins, and the way they win will determine who will be facing Arman Tsarukyan for the belt. But during this week, Ilia did post on Instagram with the caption saying that there will be a big announcement coming soon. So there's a high chance that Ilia Topuria will be headlining the White House card, but now we just have to wait for Saturday to see what the UFC announced. So again, this video could age really badly, but I just have a feeling that Ilia Topuria will be facing Islam Makhachev at the White House. And it sounds crazy because they're not both Americans, but this is the biggest fight that the UFC can make, and why not have it at the White House? Just because Dana's never turned down that option. He's always been interested in that fight, and he's mentioned it on multiple podcasts and interviews. But like I said, I could be totally wrong and Ilia will just be facing Justin Gaethje, but I hope that's not the case, because I believe the fans, the casuals, and the hardcores deserve this fight. It only makes sense, and this is the time before Islam has a chance to retire soon, which I see him doing, but that's for another video. As I'm recording this right now, Dana White posted a photo of himself covering the 6 fights that will be taking place at the White House, and from what I see, it's only going to be 2 title shots, because there was a lot of rumors going around that all the fights were going to be championship fights. So at least now we know how many championship fights will be going on that day, and best believe we will be seeing Ilia on that card. And I guarantee you guys hopefully that it's against Islam Makhachev for the biggest fight in UFC history. Alright, not really, but behind McGregor, of course. And I'm also seeing that this card will be taking place on Sunday, which is very interesting because all the fights take place on Saturday. So I wonder what's he going to say about that. But I'm getting off topic here. I just announced and leaked the main event for you guys, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And we're gonna have to wait till Saturday to see what happens. So yeah, see you guys in the next one.